What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today we're here to talk about the Pirate Rumble Grand Party. So of course season 2 just came to a close, and you know, this season was a bit interesting in the fact that we had the addition of 3 free wins. Now we don't know how that's exactly working at this current point in time, but it looks like whatever win number you got, you just add +3, and that's what we're getting due to some networking issues on Bandai's end throughout the first couple of days of season 2. But in this video today, I want to talk about the issues that I would love to see resolved to make this game mode even better than what it already is. I think this is a very fun game mode, and despite what I say in this video, I do actually enjoy playing it because Pirate Rumble is a really interesting game mode, and I know it's not for everyone, it's not everyone's cup of tea per se. But I think that it's interesting in the way that they've done it, where it gives people a little bit more of a chance, as you have essentially, you know, 3 fights to win a match overall. And I think that's an interesting way to do it. And I think that the rewards are also good, but there's also something that we need to talk about in this video regarding that. So in this video, we're going to go through just a couple of key points that I have identified, and also some people in my community on Twitter have also identified. I think a lot of people in the community have, you know, resounding issues regarding Grand Party, and we're going to discuss them in this video, and hopefully we can see some changes done in the near future, right? So let's go ahead and jump into the first one, which is probably this. This needs to be amended almost immediately. This is probably one of the biggest issues with Grand Party in the start time of the event. So usually you'll have 24 hours to log in and play during the season for your day period to do your 3 matches. However, on the first day of the event, it actually goes live at news time, and it ends, what is that, like 5 + 4, it's 9 hours later. You only get 9 hours to play the first day, and if you don't log in the first 9 hours, it goes straight to day 2. You miss out on 3 free plays. And that ultimately means that you can't get the best rewards, you can't get anything. So that's a huge issue. And I know that this is good for some players out there, but for a lot of people out there, especially people in the North American time zone, this could potentially be a big issue for you. So this probably needs to be amended ASAP. The fact that it starts at news time and then day 1 ends, you know, 9 hours later is so bizarre. I don't understand why they all just don't start at news time, or just make day 1 start at the 4 a.m. and make it start earlier on in the day. It's just really, really stupid. So this is probably one of the biggest issues right now, because there have been times where people don't even get a chance to log in and play. So this definitely needs to be fixed. So the next issue that a lot of people have brought up, and I definitely agree here, this is probably my main issue that I have with the game, is when you get to a certain point, not only do they remove your refreshes, they remove your retries, which I think is fair for what this game mode is enabling in terms of trying to reach the 15 out of 15 to get the perfect victory title. It makes sense to not have any refreshes or retries when you get to a certain point. However, when it gets to that point and you can't see opposing teams, that is an issue. Now, they definitely offset it in a way where, you know, we see with Uta here as the main lead, and then you see that Uta is on the final team. So you can kind of surmise and summarize the fact that that final team for this squad is likely int-driven, powerhouse-based. And like Roger, you see he's on the final team for this team, but this is where it gets weird, because Roger, in terms of the characters that he boosts, he can boost Sai, he can boost Slasher. This final team could be a Sai team, it could be a Slasher team, and this is just this example, but this goes throughout the entire season of Pirate Rumble Grand Party, where you don't know what teams you're coming up against. And the fact that, you know, Pirate Rumble in general is an RNG-ish kind of game mode, and I think a lot of people get triggered when people call Pirate Rumble an RNG game mode, but legit, you can have the perfect counter towards an opposing team, but if your specials whiff, if the positioning of enemy teams is incorrect or not to your liking, you can just straight up lose a game. Like it happened in season 1, I was using a Roger team, I had the full size squad up against an int-driven squad, and legit, they had one character sit at the front, they took all the hits of like Yamato and Odin and stuff, and the back of their team literally took no damage, and then Roger's GP skill literally did nothing. So at that point, yeah, you could be in a situation where even if you have the perfect counter, you have everything in your favor, stuff can still go wrong. And I think that adding this layer of an additional layer of RNG on top of it, where you just don't know what you're coming up against, makes it that much harder, which does mean that when you do reach the 15 out of 15 max wins, it is definitely more satisfying. But at the same time, it shouldn't even have to come down to that. I think that it should reward players that are actually good at Pyro Rumble in terms of their team building prowess, I suppose. And the fact that they add this layer of RNG where you can't even see what you're going up against is weird. And yes, you can understand, like, yeah, Uta, she boosts, what is it, Dex, Int, and Driven, I think it is. Yeah, you could think, oh yeah, it could be an Int team, there could be a Dex team on here. But also another thing is that it also depends on the rules that happen during Grand Party. And you can legit build a team where, you know, like Roger only boosts 2 different types of characters, Psi units and Slashers. The third team for Roger, you can literally run anything. It could be a quick team, could be a strength team, could be Dex team, could be anything, could be another Int driven team. And that is literally one of the best strats you could do, is build a Roger team here with one of the teams being, you know, the Int driven team, because they get so many buffs during the season 2 of Grand Party, and you just don't know what you're coming up against. So the fact that what they do a little bit later on, or a little bit earlier on in the season, is that they make it so you can only see the first 2 teams. Now, in my opinion, this is what it should be at a maximum. It shouldn't get any worse than this. I think that it is a good idea that you can still view at least the first 2 squads, and I think it would also be a really cool idea if maybe they block out the bench, where you can't see what bench characters are coming in, which would make it interesting, where people might want to put some of their really hardcore, hard-hitting characters on their bench and let them be hidden, and then have the mainline units be a little less unpredictable, I suppose. So I think that it would be interesting if they did something along those lines, but hiding all 3 teams is just not the wave. Now, I do also think that the rewards overall for the Grand Party need to be altered in some capacity. So this is what happens when you win all 15 matches for the season. You get 20 gems, but of course there's more added when you calculate all the cumulative rewards along the way. 1 million bounty and the exclusive perfect victory title. Now, in my opinion, if you reach 15 out of 15, I think you should get the title for sure. I totally agree with that. However, I think that the rainbow gems, the fact that the rainbow gems are blocked out by perfect victory, that is a big issue. And like, not really for me per se, because obviously I do buy a lot of rainbow gems in the game, but for free-to-play players out there, or people that don't spend a lot of money in the game, the fact that they block out so many gem rewards because you didn't even reach 15 out of 15, that doesn't sit right with me. I think bounty and the title are perfectly fine with being at these max rewards, but rainbow gems, I'm not a big fan of that. So if we even just have a look here, we can see that at 15 wins you get those 20 gems, 14 you get 10, 13 there is no gem reward, but you do get a limited pool legend ticket. So potentially switching it around where the limited pool ticket is at 15 wins, and then make all the gem rewards more accessible. I think if you reach 12 wins, you should get all of the 50 rainbow gems total for the season, and then 13, 14, and 15 should be more exclusive rewards where you get a way higher bounty. Like maybe like take all the bounty from the earlier wins and chuck it into the 13, 14, 15, and potentially adding more cotton candy. Obviously the limited pool ticket could be put into the last 3 wins. Like make the last 3 wins exclusive rewards you can only get from Grand Party, and then make, you know, the first 12 wins, maybe in the first 10 wins to get the 50 rainbow gems. I think that would be a little bit more fair for more players out there. At least in my opinion, I could definitely have some of those reward placements wrong, but I just think that all of the gem rewards shouldn't be gate kept by having to reach 15 out of 15, which I know many people out there aren't even going to be able to do. And then my final kind of issue that I have with Grand Party right now is the characters that have Grand Party abilities. Now, right now, there's only like a very small amount of these that are usable in any capacity, right? I think Uta is usable, Dex Luffy is usable, Roger Whitebeard is definitely usable, Quick Luffy maybe to an extent, Yamato maybe, but obviously Roger is the highlight here. And the fact that they've made a character such as Roger so powerful with that GP burst, no other character really competes with it. It is the best GP burst in the game, and I think it is a little bit of a strange situation that we find ourselves in, where Roger is the best GP lead in the game, and the fact that none of these characters even come close is definitely an issue. So what I would like to see is either these characters get straight up buffs for their GP abilities, or they really need to introduce more GP abilities into the game, because the ones that we have now, while they're fine, we definitely need something to freshen up this list. And we know that when we move into New Year's celebrations, likely the New Year's Legends or Legend will have GP abilities, which will enable us to get potentially a new kind of meta brewing, but it really is dependent on the abilities of those characters or character. So we'll have to wait and see how that kind of progresses. But as it stands right now, the GP abilities that we have, the fact that so many of them are essentially unusable because they're just so bad, it's just a pain, because we get into a situation where everyone's just using the same character. And I think it would be nice if we had a little bit more of a fresh meta where we can utilize a lot of different units, and depending on the leader skills, we could use different teams to get different buffs. You know, something like Cerebral, while they have some really interesting squads, it would be interesting if the GP leader skill for a character helped give some of those teams that they boost a buff that they don't particularly have right now. Like, in particular, the strength team. The strength team isn't very bulky, isn't very defensive. So if there was a leader for strength that applied like a crap load of defensive buffs, I think that would be kind of interesting if they went down that route, so that it would be kind of worth it to invest the scrolls into your characters to utilize different teams in Pirate Rumble Grand Party. So that's pretty much it that I have right now in terms of what I would like to see change for Grand Party moving forward. But of course, that is exactly just what I think about Grand Party. Definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. What would you like to see changed with Grand Party? And I think most of the things that I touched up on in this video kind of go through what many people are thinking and believing in terms of Grand Party, because I think we all agree that it is an interesting way to play the game, and I think a lot of people out there do enjoy Grand Party. But with some very slight tweaks and changes, we will have a pretty awesome game mode on our hands. But that is going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.